Good morning. Welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report, episode 466. Boy, the numbers just keep coming along, right? Unbelievable. The days just fly by. We'll be at episode 500 before you know it. What's it? 466, 66, 500 minus 466 is 34. So this is toward the end of August. I would say toward the end of October-ish or middle of October-ish. I should be hitting about episode 500. That would be cool. That would be cool. Welcome to the JP8 report. I just saw your chat just a second ago, Ricky. Hey, I'll explain it more a little bit about being a moderator. It's easy. Okay. The the screenshot I sent you says it all. But we got moderators now, guys, in the chat. So that deal that happened the other day, we can nip it in the bud like really, really, really fast. Okay, so I got some really good, dedicated people that watch the show all the time. Ricky does both of them sometimes. He was in the first one also. Um, but yeah, so we got a handle on that one. We're steadily in the army, you got side improvement. You make your foxhole, you put your camouflage on it. Then a little while later, you put a little bit more camouflage. You conceal a little bit more. It's all about the make a better mousetrap. That's all you have to do. Uh, but yeah, so I will be leaving at 8:45 this morning. So I'm gonna log off 8:45, and I got to go straight to City Hall because I'm gonna watch the ballot draw for the city council races, and I'm gonna do the same thing tomorrow for the school board race. I'm gonna record it, and I'm gonna put it up on the podcast so people can see it. All right. Uh, thank y'all very much. I got a monologue. I'm gonna do a little bit of one in just a couple of minutes. I'm gonna do the welcome first before we get started. So thank y'all very much for tuning in today. If you're not already a follower of the JP8 report, all you have to do is click that bell right beside it where it says the JP8 report. Click the bell, toggle down a little bit where you see the word follow, click it, and you're done. And no cost involved. There's ads, but there's no cost involved. And then right next to it, you see a thumbs up. Click that thumbs up button, including you, Ricky. Click the thumbs up. Uh, Click the thumbs up, make it turn green, and that's your like for the day. And then get in there and chat with us if you want. We got Covite for Life in there. We got me, and I'm sure Luke and Scott are watching right now, but they're probably working or something. And then retired Rob, if he wakes up in time, he usually watches me on demand. But so, and I got three moderators now, like I was telling y'all. Take your pick on who it might be. All right. So we got all that done. So before I do the American 250, I want to talk about one thing real quick. See, we got Luke on board. Woo-hoo! Man. And I'm sure he got my text message this morning too. 'Cause I talked to him at church last night. Uh, so the ballroom, the White House ballroom. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court told President Trump they can continue to build the White House ballroom while it's going litigation before the Supreme Court. All right, that's a victory. That's great. The part that really irritates me is not by from SCOTUS at all, none. All right, it's from the Washington Post. Now, but between the morning brief and the JP8 report, I watch Vince. Okay, he's on the Bongino report channel on Rumble. All right, I watch him a lot because he's good. And he brought up a report that came out, an article that came out from the Washington Post. I tell you, loose lips sink ships. You hear me say that junk over and over and over again. But they came out with an article talking about the supposed military facility underneath the White House. If you read the article, it goes pretty good into detail. Not all the way, but most of it, citing 3 unnamed sources here and 2 unnamed sources here, and going and telling you exactly what's going on. Just like Vince said, that's treasonous. Why would you put the risk of our government at risk of being killed for a newspaper article? Just because it is a facility, I ain't going to tell you, man, if you only knew, okay? But I'm not going to risk my life and other people's life by spilling the secrets of our government. Those people that said that junk were read on the programs. They were read on, which means they were top secret. Matter of fact, not only were they not just secret, but top secret, but they were also what they call TSSCI. Top secret, special, compartmentalized information. Which means it deals with national security. Why in a world would a newspaper owned by Jeff Bezos, the failing Washington Post, where democracy goes to die, would put out an article to put the life of our president and his staff at risk? Do they care or not care? I'm about to read something that happened 250 years ago. Do they want our country to end at 250? Because right now we're in the middle of a conflict with Iran. If they had a chance to do a decapitation strike and sever our continuity government, they would probably take the chance and go for it, just like we did back in February 28th. That was the date after the dash for the Ayatollah Khomeini, because he's no longer with us. He's still searching for 72 virgins, and he ain't finding them. So why would you put our nation at risk by violating an NDA? That's called a non-disclosure agreement. That at that level, you sign it for, I think it's 75 years. Whoops. Yeah, 75 years, which means you will no longer be breathing. To put our country at risk for a newspaper article that a lot of people, well, not a lot of people will read the Washington Post, but when you talk about this, everyone decides they want to read the article. I haven't read it. I actually thought about going to try to find it, but then why would I give them the credit of clicking on the article? It's bad enough that Vince did it, because there are a lot of people listening to his show. But they were going into details that should not be disclosed at all. Man, I tell you, you just don't understand. There's people out there that hate our country, and they will do everything in their power to watch it fall. And we're in our 250th year. How many of those people that hate our country actually watched the Freedom 250 race yesterday? We watched most of it. I bet they didn't. I bet they didn't rise for the national anthem at all, because they just don't care. They don't care unless we're shooting at each other and throwing bombs at each other. That's all they. That's the only thing they matters to them. To watch our country disintegrate so they can put their own leftist socialistic constitution together, if there is even a constitution, and try to run us for the rest of our lives, which won't happen. All right. So that's my monologue for this morning. Hope I didn't make y'all mad. But let's go. So America 250. 23rd of August, which was yesterday, General Washington ordered his soldiers to remain calm, hold their fire, and wait for commands from their officers. And if you run, you will be dealt with. All right. August 24th. August 24th, General Washington wrote a letter to Major General Philip Schuyler. Dear Sir, I received your favor of the 18th, that means the letter, with several enclosures on Thursday by Mr. Allen. My letter of the 13th does not, nor was it meant to contain the most distant hint of your entertaining doubts and suspicions of my not having communicated to Congress such parts of the letters as were material. It was only designed to answer yours. Where you say, since my arrival here, you had not written to them on military affairs, supposing whatever information you might give and which was necessary for them to know would be communicated by me. My request to be advised to the information you might give Congress of any matters whereof you wrote me at the same time was to prevent my sending them unnecessary intelligence and the trouble of sending needless copies and extracts made out. I am in hopes of articles mentioned in the letter to Captain Varick will have come to hand before this. Also, those contained in my enclosed list shipped on board of the schooner Union Philo Stanford, the master of the 19th, as the quartermaster general has reported to me. The treaty with the Indians agreeable to your request I transmitted to Congress. It gives me pleasure to find vessels on the lakes are in such forwardness and going on with such industry. I yet hope that we find a navy there equal to every exigency and that will be superior to those that the enemy can build. Captains Hawley and Chappell are now here with permission from the Governor Trumbull and myself to enlist it, if they can. 200 seamen out of the militia was just sent from the state of Connecticut. How will they succeed? I cannot determine. I wish you had proceeded in such a way as your own judgment and inclination led. In the case referred to me as my advice respecting Colonels Dayton's officers, I am sorry that persons of their rank and their connections would be such given as a dishonorable and disgraced practices, and feel myself a good concern for themselves and friends. But as the matter is with me to determine, as making concessions at the head of the regiment would not answer any purpose, but that rendering them objects of ridicule and contempt, as they would never after claim and support the authority over their inferiors that is necessary for good government and discipline, as public justice and a regard to military character requires that matters of this nature should be met with every possible discouragement, as my conduct might otherwise be deemed reprehensible and deter others from which a conduct is but to prevent. I cannot but advise that the several persons concerned be subjected to the trial of a court martial. If the court should think they ought to be broke and dismissed from the service, Colonel Dayton and his major and other officers will recommend that they will be proper persons to fill the vacancies occasioned by the removal. On Wednesday night and Thursday morning, a considerable body of the enemy, said to be 8 or 9,000, landed at Gravesend Bay on Long Island. They have approached within 3 miles of our lines, and yesterday there was some skirmishing between a detachment and theirs and a party of our troops. Their detachment were obliged to give ground and were pursued as far as they had at a post at Judge Lefford's. His house and outhouses served as quarters for them and were burnt by our people. We sustained no loss in this action that I have heard, except for 2 men were slightly wounded. Our people say the enemy met with more. They found 1 dead body in the habitat of a soldier, and with a good deal of money in his pocket, and got 3 hangers and a fuzzy. I am, dear sir, your most humble servant, George Washington. P.S. Our party threw a shell from a howitzer which fell on and burst in a house. There were several of them. Whether they were injured by it, we have not learned. A firing has been heard this morning, but we know nothing of the event. So they're leading up to the Battle of Long Island, which is 3 days from now. So more to come on that. And don't get your hopes up. It was a bad turnout for the Continental Army on the Battle of Long Island, but we bloodied the nose of the British. All right. The armament shop. All right. Whether you're looking for your first firearm or upgrading your setup or need expert service, Jason at the Armament Shop is Copper's Cove's premier source for all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns backed by top-tier gunsmithing for repairs, along with reloading supplies and professional cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your CHL? Jason can handle those classes. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the Armament Shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Copper's Cove, or call or text 254-560-2023, or visit them at www.armamentshop.com. That's www.armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop is your safety is our priority. All right, I'm back in there. All right, the Iran update. What time we got? 8:18. All right, we're doing all right. The Iran update. The Secretary of Treasury says the economic sanctions, which will be published at 2 p.m. Eastern today, on Iran will be an end game. And then the Iranian Security Secretary said not a drop of oil will come through the Strait of Hormuz if the economic sanctions are a go. All right, but right now oil is down due to sanctions being proposed. Give me a second here. I gotta check one other thing. Hold it. I forgot to do one thing. Okay, I'm back. I forgot to write down the price of oil. Syria and Israel are holding mediation talks so there's no more attacks like what happened last week. CENTCOM is reporting that 70 vessels have been redirected, and 3 have been disabled, and 2 have been boarded. Iran says sanctions will not work. Israel's threatening Gaza strikes due to kite launches. if you don't understand what I meant by kite launches. So, um, Palestinians, they like to, this is a Mideast thing, okay? Well, they like to fly kites. Well, in Gaza, what they do is they take these kites, put bombs on them, fly them, let it go, and let them fly into Israel. And when they make impact, they detonate. All right, that's what they're trying to prevent. Iran's currency is at a historic low right now. The Strait of Hormuz traffic spiked due to U.S. Navy escorts. I think they said it was up 400% since the last month. And then there's also another problem brewing. It's with capped oil wells in Iran. Uh, so they've been capping some of the wells because they don't have any storage capacity left anymore. The problem is when you cap a well, it terminates the communication from the bit to the pipe to the pump, and it takes time to reestablish it. Matter of fact, when you cap a well, you usually sink concrete down it to stop it from pumping. And what you'd have to do then is drill another well. And they said sometimes up to 6 months to a year that well will be down before it actually can start producing again. So that's a problem that I don't think Iran has thought about that problem yet, but they will soon because the chickens are going to come home to roost for them, and they're going to be like, we can't produce oil. That's going to be a bad thing. All right. So the Dow Jones closed on Friday up 517.80 points. It was at 53,277.01. West Texas Intermediate is at 85.70 a barrel, and Brent crude oil is at $93.41 a barrel. All right, that is your rain update. Now let's do our announcements. That's it. So first announcement is for this coming Thursday, August 27th in Gatesville. We have Pints and Politics at Ranchers at 6 p.m. That's at the corner of 84 and 36. Chip Howe is the moderator. All right. Next announcement. Coryell County Republican Party is having a Patriot Range Day at the Holly Gun Range at 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. this coming Saturday. Bring your weapons, bring your ammo. If you run out of ammo, the armament shop will be there to sell you more ammo. And also, we have Curmudgeon's Honeymead is going to be there. They're a sponsor for this event. Come on out, have some fun, shoot. Jay said that he's going to bring some special weapons out too so we can all fire. So that'll be great. So this August 29th is coming Saturday. All right. Next announcement. I don't have an ad for it yet or a graphic for it. It's the West Side Conservative Coalition. They're meeting next Monday, a week from the day, at 6 p.m. at Papa's Cafe for their monthly meeting at 6 p.m. Dennis Faulkner is the point of contact for that. Next announcement is Pints and Politics on the 3rd of September in Belton at the Dead Fish Grill at 6 p.m. The moderator is Chip Howe again, because this is his organization. All right. Matter of fact, the lake is beautiful when the sun is setting, just so you know. My next announcement is for the 8th of September, the Coppers Cove Conservative Club. We have our September social, September 8th, 6 p.m. at Giovanni's. Come on out. I'm inviting several school board and city council candidates out there to give us a rundown of what they're running for. All right. And then for my final announcement is Coryell County Republican Party is having our annual fish fry at the Texas Station Event Center on September 26th at 6 p.m. And we are going to have two keynote speakers. We have Senator Pete Flores, and we have Chairwoman of the Republican Party of Texas, Dorinda Randall. She will be there also. If you want tickets, all right, to get tickets for this event, since you're on my podcast, what you do is you go to the description of the podcast, and when you scroll down, you'll see fish fry tickets, and that's how you get your tickets. All right, and there's $35 a piece, or $60 for a couple. All right, so you know, so say we all. All right, so here we go. What do we want to talk about? Oh yeah, so this is just I know I put this in the as the title for the podcast this morning, because I'm going to talk about a total loser in just a second. But so the president dropped this on his True Social a little while ago about Brandon Gill. Brandon Gill was quoted on the Benny Johnson show with the president. He made this quote, okay? If you hate Western civilization, you don't deserve to live in it. And I totally agree. If you don't like our country, surrender your passport at the airport and leave. Or drive across the border, give the Customs Border Patrol, the agent there, give him your passport and say, "C'est la vie. I'm going to live in Canada, or I'm going to live in Mexico." And don't come back. Don't come back. Don't come back no more, no more, no more. All right. So Brandon Gill, I said this many times, he has a huge future in the Republican Party in the House of Representatives. Either that, or he's going to run for Senate and get elected. One of the two. All right. So what I was alluding to on that was about Hassan, right? Mr. Loser Piker, right? Far left streamer Hassan Piker was seen and heard hearing a stupid meme song called "We Are Charlie Kirk." And he did it at his Fear and live tour concert over the weekend. He was in San Francisco, and he was singing it, and him and his friends were laughing as it was being sung. Leading a cheering crowd, Piker saying, "We are Charlie Kirk, we carry the flame, we will fight for the gospel, we'll honor his name," while his co-hosts could be seen laughing on the stage. And at one point, Piker could be heard saying it was one of the most surreal moments of his life. Piker, in addition to streaming on Twitch, co-hosts the weekly comedy and pop culture podcast Fear and, along with three others. Their live show is a West Coast swing that began Friday in San Francisco, where the video appeared to be shot, according to a photo Piker shared online of him and his co-host. The song was an AI-generated song that was released on September 18th, 2025, shortly after Kirk's assassination in Utah. They geared the song around a Christian song that was sung generations ago, right? But the song it's frequently used online in memes to mock Kirk and fellow conservatives. Piker has become a political lightning rod for his controversial rhetoric, and hard left views quickly went viral with the song that appeared to be mocking Kirk and revered by many on the political right for his founding of the Turning Point USA and work in its Republican politics. Hassan Piker is engaging in pure, unadulterated evil. That is from Andrew Kovac. Okay, whoever gloats over disaster will not go unpunished. And he quoted Proverbs 17:5 from that. So, he said, he is just a trash human being. Piker was supposed to debate Charlie Kirk a few days after he was assassinated. That would have been a really good debate. Piker actually talked about how much shooting shook him. Now he is mocking it all for all pleasure of losing of his loser friends. You know, why even bother? I'll tell you, like this weekend, we had the Coriel County Republican Women event going on, and I made a post on Facebook with had a picture of my wife and had pictures of other politicians in there, and just that we had a good time, right? And someone attacked us on the post, not physically, mentally, right? And me, if you know me, I don't go down with the fight. If I think something's right, I'm going to defend it. If it's wrong, I might defend it or I might just let it go. I wanted to take this fight. I wanted to show these people a piece of me that didn't need to be seen. And I know I shouldn't have done that, and I didn't do it because my wife asked me not to. Listen to my mom. My wife gives me some really good advice, and they are lucky I did not. I ended up blocking them and deleting it, and the admins of the group actually deleted the comments also, which is good. But I wanted to really bad. But we have people like that all over our country, and just like Congressman Gill said, if you don't like our country or our way of life, leave. Go, get out of here. Leave your passport with customs as you're getting on that ship or that plane. Man. Hey guys, there might be something in here that's affecting me. Maybe I need to open up the windows and air it out or something. Man. No kazootons or God bless you or anything from the chat. Wow. I feel honored. Man. But yeah, I mean, guys like Hassan Parker and Abdul Syed and AOC and Bernie Sanders and all these Angie Nixon, all these crazy people out there, right? That actually hate us and hate our country, that they actually need to just go away and never come back. That needs to happen. And, don't let the door hit you in the rear end as you're leaving. Man, but he's crazy. Crazy. The sooner we stop talking about these liberals, these leftist liberals, the quicker they'll just go away. But we keep inflaming the situation and bringing the subjects back up. Sometimes they have to be brought up, but if you just ignore them, they'll just go away totally. Okay. We'll go this one. So, if you didn't know, the Republicans have been raising money. All right. You might not know because if you listen to the news, the Republicans are broke, demoralized, and content on losing. But when you have like upwards of $500 million, things change. The Senate Leadership Fund, a top GOP campaign group aligned with John Thune, announced that it and other allies have raised over $500 million ahead of the 2026 U.S. Senate elections, setting new records as they look to defend the Senate, the Republican majority. Despite a historical precedent of long shot odds for the president's party at the midterms, Republicans have built a war chest in recent months to put Democrats on the defensive in the House and the Senate. Thanks to leader John Thune and our generous investors, Senate Leadership Fund and its affiliated groups have raised more resources than any other Senate effort in history. That was by Alex Leitcham. He told that to Fox News. However, we cannot slow down as Chucky Schumer and radical Democrats seek to overtake our nation back to open borders and rampant crime and crushing inflation. It's those elements the group hopes to put front and center. In many of their materials, SLF, that's the Senate Leadership Fund, looks to pin Democrats over their opposition to many pieces of President Trump's legislation agenda and past support for far left policies across Alaska, Iowa, Maine, Michigan, North Carolina. They are using ad campaigns that highlight elements like violence caused by soft crime policies, opposition to wage hikes for veterans, and past scandals who have followed some of the Democrat nominees. Also, $500 million, right? Well, did you hear that Elon Musk is putting in another $200 million on top of that? And also, the president has $346 million on top of that. So we have a very large war chest for this fight. And all these polls that they've been releasing, they don't really count. For one, most of the polls are registered voters. They're not likely voters. They go adults or registered voters, or the cream of the crop is the likely voters. And then at the same time, you got to get your mixture right of your Democrats and Republicans. And then your methodology for the questions asked and how you get a hold of them matter also. So most of the time, those polls, the real poll counts on November 3rd. All right. So where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So we have hundreds and hundreds of $1,000,000. How much does the Democrats have at all? No, they may have a couple hundred million, but nothing even close to what the Republicans have. You got to get out there. Like I do these announcements on here, it's to get people to get engaged with the political atmosphere out there. Because when you get engaged, you stay engaged. I like to say that a lot because it's true. It's absolutely true. Man, it's already 8:38. Okay. Oh wow. I'm gonna cover these two if I can. Okay, tomorrow is primary day in South Carolina. It's going to be Darlene Graham versus Ralph Norman in the South Carolina special primary to be able to replace Lindsey Graham on the general election ballot because he passed away a month and a half ago. So his sister Darlene Graham and Ralph Norman are in the runoff for tomorrow. Tomorrow is election day for it. And then also Republicans are heavily favored to win any election in South Carolina. All right. I'm polling for Darlene Graham also for two reasons. What's his name? Ralph Norman is 73 years old, right? And then he said that she's not qualified. There's only one qualification: U.S. citizen and 30 years old. All right. You can learn on the go. You don't have to be a foreign policy expert, as he said. Well, the foreign policy expert needs to be for our country? The Secretary of State and the President of the United States. And do some content, the Department of War Secretary. All right. So voters in South Carolina are set to choose their Senate nominee Tuesday in a battle between Trump-endorsed incumbent and a House Freedom Caucus stalwart. The sudden death of Lindsey Graham came only after he won the Republican primary in his re-election bid, and Governor McMaster appointed Darlene to replace him, and then she decided to run for public office. Let's see. The Palmetto state is reliably Republican, and the winner of the primary will be heavily favored in the general. At least 5 other candidates filed for the primary, with Russell Fry endorsing Darlene Graham, and then everybody else was endorsing the Ralph Norman. Ralph Norman is 73 years old. 73, running for the Senate for his first time. How confident are we that he's going to make it through all 6 years? Or are we going to be in another election cycle? Darlene Graham is only 61, and she's learning. You got to give her a chance. January 3rd is not here yet, and she's got plenty of time to get fully schooled up on what's expected to her in the Senate. And plus, she's going to have people helping her out there anyway and taking her, okay, you need to know this. Robert's Rule of Order says you can do this, this, and this. It's easy. It's easy. All right. But yeah, so tomorrow night we'll have election results, but so Wednesday morning I will tell y'all who won. All right. But hopefully Darlene Graham pulls it out. Regardless, we're going to get a conservative Republican in that seat, regardless. So always vote Republican, especially here in Texas. Don't give Telefrico an ounce of hope that he's going to win. Let him come crashing down. 842. Caroline Leavitt said that she is her next job after leaving the White House in a couple of days will be with MAGA Inc. MAGA Inc. is President Trump's super PAC, and she has not disclosed on what she's going to be doing with said super PAC, but that she's going to be doing it, and you'll see her from time to time. She worked with MAGA Inc. back before she got involved in the 2024 campaign with President Trump. So she's going back to her old stomping grounds, right? With a little bit extra time. But she announced that on Friday on Air Force One, what she was going to do. Because people were wondering, now the next question, who's going to be her replacement, right? And my odds-on favorite, it's going to be Carrie Lake. But we'll see, all right? That's who I'm hoping it is. I give her a 75% chance it'll be Carrie Lake. We'll see. We shall see. Day 43. Anyone that has any last minute comments before I sign off for the day? Because if you don't, I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. I'm at a good stopping point because I'm going to talk about Puerto Rico and Telefrico right after that. All right. So if there's not much more to do, I'm gonna go ahead and skedaddle out of here and go to. I'm gonna do the raid, and then I'm gonna go down to City Hall, and I'm going to film this. What do you call it? Ballot draw. Okay. And if you don't know what a ballot draw is, it's in Texas. You draw your name, or you roll dice, or you pick cards, and that determines your place on the ballot for the November election, which is pretty cool. All right. So I'm going to go over to my end paper right there. There's all my social points so you can get a hold of me with. I'm going to initiate the raid. Dan Bongino is going to come on in 15 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and hit the raid so y'all can Telefrico. Yep. So y'all can listen to Dan Bongino, okay? So there's the raid. It's confirmed. I will see y'all tomorrow morning at 6:30 with the morning brief. Y'all have a great day. This is James Pierce with JP8 Report. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.